Life is a battlefield, and the greatest battles are often fought in the mind. There's a war taking place, not one we can see with our natural eyes, but a spiritual attack designed to weaken our faith, steal our peace, and keep us from walking in the fullness of God's promises. The enemy knows that if he can control your thoughts, he can control your life. That's why it's so important to guard your mind, to be aware of the attacks, and to stand firm in the truth of who you are and whose you are. Negative thoughts come to all of us. No one is exempt. But the real danger isn't in the thoughts themselves, it's in what we do with them. The enemy's strategy is to plant seeds of fear and doubt in your mind, hoping you'll take hold of them, dwell on them, and eventually believe them. He knows that if he can control your thoughts, he can control your emotions, your decisions, and ultimately your destiny. That's why the battle isn't just about what's happening around you, it's about what's happening inside of you. It starts subtly. Maybe you wake up feeling a little off, not sure why, but there's a heaviness in your spirit. Then a thought comes. Things are never going to change. You brush it off, but another thought follows. You're not good enough. You'll never accomplish your dreams. Before you know it, you're feeling discouraged, defeated, anxious about the future. It wasn't because something bad happened. It was because of the thoughts you allowed to take root. The enemy whispers lies. And if you're not careful, you'll start treating them like truth. But just because a thought comes doesn't mean you have to accept it. You don't have to entertain every negative idea, every fearful scenario that runs through your mind. You have the power to reject it, to say, no, that's not my thought. That's not what God says about me. You have to be intentional about guarding your mind, because what you allow in will take root and shape your reality. The truth is, fear and doubt will always try to creep in, but they don't have to stay. The key is recognizing them for what they are. Distractions sent to keep you from stepping into the fullness of what God has for you. The enemy wouldn't be attacking your mind if there wasn't something great on the other side. He knows that if you keep believing, if you keep standing in faith, you're going to step into blessings beyond anything you've imagined. That's why the battle is so intense, because what's ahead of you is greater than what's behind you. Think about the moments in your life when you felt the most doubt, when you thought, maybe I'm not meant to do this, maybe I should just give up. Right before a breakthrough, right before a promotion, right before God was about to shift something in your favor. That's when the attack was the strongest, because the enemy knows that if he can get you to quit in your mind, he doesn't have to fight you anywhere else. If he can convince you to stop believing, stop hoping, stop expecting, then he's already won. But you are not powerless. You don't have to sit back and let fear and doubt run your life. You have a choice in what you believe. You can choose faith over fear. You can choose hope over discouragement. When a negative thought comes, you can say, no, I'm not accepting that. I know God has a plan for me. I know He's leading me to something greater. I know I'm more than a conqueror. The enemy may try to attack, but he has no power over a mind that is rooted in truth. You weren't created to live weighed down by fear and insecurity. You were created to live in peace, in confidence, in the fullness of God's promises. So the next time those thoughts come, when fear whispers that it's not going to work out, when doubt tells you that you're not enough, you can stand firm and say, I know who I am. I know whose I am. And I know that no weapon formed against me will prosper. This battle isn't about what's happening to you. It's about what's happening within you. Win the battle in your mind and you'll win the battle in your life. Victory is already yours. There are moments in life when everything feels overwhelming, when the weight of responsibilities, worries, and uncertainty press down so heavily that you feel drained, not just physically, but deep in your spirit. It's easy to think you're just tired from work, from handling daily pressures, from dealing with people. But sometimes what you're facing isn't just exhaustion, it's a spiritual battle. The enemy knows that if he can wear you down mentally and emotionally, you'll start making decisions from a place of weakness rather than faith. He knows that if he can keep you overwhelmed, you'll be too distracted to see the doors God is opening. It doesn't always show up as something obvious. Sometimes it's the small things, the constant feelings of frustration, the sense that nothing is going right, the nagging thoughts that tell you you're failing even when you're doing your best. It's the heaviness that lingers, making even the simplest tasks feel impossible. You may think, I just need rest. I need a break. And while physical rest is important, what you need even more is spiritual renewal. The enemy wants you tired because a tired mind is easier to deceive. When you're exhausted, you don't dream as big. You don't pray as boldly. You don't fight back when the lies come because you don't have the strength to resist them. That's why you have to recognize when what you're feeling isn't just fatigue, it's an attack meant to pull you away from your purpose. But here's the good news. You don't have to stay drained. You don't have to live in a constant state of mental and emotional exhaustion. There is strength available to you that doesn't come from getting more sleep or taking a vacation. It comes from stepping into God's presence, from worshiping even when you don't feel like it, from speaking His promises over your life even when everything looks the opposite. There is a power in stillness, in getting quiet before God and allowing Him to refill you. You don't have to figure everything out on your own. You don't have to carry the weight of the world on your shoulders. When you release it, when you let go of the pressure and trust that He is working behind the scenes, that's when strength rises up inside of you. That's when the peace that surpasses all understanding begins to take over. And that's also why confusion is one of the enemy's greatest weapons. He wants you to second guess yourself, to doubt whether you're on the right path, to feel lost, unsure of what's next, because confusion creates hesitation, and hesitation keeps you from moving forward. Maybe right now you're in a season where nothing makes sense. You thought things would work out one way, but they didn't. You expected doors to open, but they stayed shut. You've been praying for direction, but all you feel is uncertainty. That's not by accident. The enemy knows that if he can keep you confused, he can keep you stuck. But here's the truth. Confusion is not from God. He is not the author of disorder. He didn't lead you into uncertainty. He leads you with clarity, with peace, with confidence. If something is making you anxious, if a decision is causing you turmoil, that's a sign to step back and seek His guidance. God speaks in peace. He leads with assurance. When you don't know what to do, don't rush. Don't make decisions out of fear. The enemy wants you to panic, to make choices based on frustration rather than faith. But when you trust that God is in control, that He is ordering your steps, you can walk forward even when you don't see the full picture. You can move in faith, knowing that He will align everything in His perfect time. So if you've been feeling overwhelmed, if you've been confused about what's next, take a step back, rest, not just physically, but spiritually. Get into His presence, speak His promises. Declare that confusion has no place in your mind, that exhaustion will not keep you from the blessings ahead. The moment you do, strength will return, clarity will come, peace will take over. And you will see what the enemy meant for harm, God is turning for your good. The season of exhaustion is coming to an end. The season of clarity and breakthrough is on its way. Keep believing, keep trusting, keep standing in faith. Victory is already yours. There are battles we fight that aren't just physical, not just emotional, but deeply spiritual. You can go through life thinking that what you're facing is just bad luck, just a tough season, just something you have to push through. But in reality, there's something deeper happening. The enemy doesn't attack where there's nothing to gain. He comes after your mind, your peace, your purpose, because he knows that if he can control your thoughts, he can control your life. But you were never meant to live under the weight of fear, doubt, and confusion. You were created to walk in victory, in clarity, in confidence, knowing that no attack can stop the plans already set for you. That every battle you face is one step closer to the breakthrough that's coming. Stay grounded, stay connected, and trust that no attack can stop the purpose that's already set for you. The victory is yours. All you have to do is walk in it. One of the biggest signs of a spiritual attack is the battle in your thoughts. The mind is the enemy's battlefield. He plants small seeds of doubt, whispers lies, makes you question yourself, your worth, your direction. You start thinking, what if I fail? What if I'm not good enough? What if things never change? Before you know it, those thoughts have taken root, affecting how you see yourself, how you see your future, how you even pray. That's why protecting your mind is so important. You don't have to entertain every thought that comes your way. You don't have to dwell on negativity, on fear, on what ifs. You have the power to choose what you focus on. You have the power to replace every lie with truth, to declare, I am more than a conqueror. I am strong. I am capable. My future is secure. Another way the enemy tries to attack is through discouragement. It's one thing to have a bad day, to feel a little tired, to need a break, but when you constantly feel like you're not making progress, when you wake up already feeling defeated, when nothing seems to bring joy, that's not just exhaustion, that's a strategy meant to keep you from stepping into your purpose. Because if the enemy can't stop your destiny, he'll try to stop you from believing in it. He'll make you feel like you're too far behind, like you've missed your moment, like nothing you do matters. But the truth is, your journey is unfolding exactly as it should. What looks like delays are often divine setups. What feels like a closed door is often a redirection to something greater. Just because you don't see it yet doesn't mean it's not coming. You may be facing obstacles right now that seem impossible. Maybe it's in your finances, in your relationships, in your health. You prayed, you believe, but nothing seems to be shifting. The enemy wants you to give up before your breakthrough comes. He wants you to think that God has forgotten about you, that your prayers aren't working, that it's too late. But the enemy is a lie. The very fact that you're still standing, still believing, still pressing forward is proof that he hasn't won. The battle you're in is not a sign that you're failing. It's a sign that something powerful is on the way. When you recognize that the battle is spiritual, you fight differently. You don't fight with fear, with worry, with anxiety. You fight with faith. You fight with prayer. You fight by declaring that no weapon formed against you will prosper, that what was meant for harm is turning for your good, that victory is already yours. And when you do, the attacks lose their power. The doubt doesn't shake you. The discouragement doesn't break you. The confusion doesn't hold you back, because you know that what's ahead of you is greater than what's behind you. And nothing, not fear, not setbacks, not even the toughest battles can stop what has already been destined for your life. There are times in life when you feel an unusual heaviness in your spirit, a weariness that doesn't quite make sense. You're doing everything right, pushing forward, staying faithful, but something feels off. It's like a weight on your mind, a cloud over your thoughts, a battle that no one else can see. What you may not realize is that this is not just a rough season, not just exhaustion. It's a spiritual attack. The enemy knows that if he can control your thoughts, he can control your decisions. If he can get you to doubt yourself, to feel overwhelmed, to question your purpose, then he can keep you from stepping into what's next. But you were never meant to live under that weight. You were created to walk in strength, in clarity, in confidence. One of the first signs of a spiritual attack is confusion. Suddenly, things that were once clear seem uncertain. You second guess yourself. You hesitate where you used to move boldly. You struggle with decisions that once came easily. That's not just a shift in circumstances, that's an attack on your mind. The enemy wants to cloud your judgment to lead you away from the peace that's already yours. But you don't have to accept confusion as your new normal. You have the authority to silence the lies, to declare that clarity is your portion, that wisdom is your guide, that your steps are ordered. When you stand firm in that, the fog lifts, the uncertainty fades, and you begin to see with fresh vision. Another way the enemy attacks is through isolation. He wants to get you alone in your thoughts, to make you feel like no one understands, like no one cares, like you have to figure everything out on your own. But isolation is a lie. You were never meant to carry burdens alone. There are people around you who want to support you, who want to lift you up, who want to remind you of the strength that's already inside you. The enemy will try to make you pull away, to convince you that your struggles are too much, that no one would understand. But the moment you reach out, the moment you let someone in, the weight starts to lift. Because where two or more stand together, there is power, there is breakthrough, there is victory. Then there's the attack of fear. It doesn't always show up as panic or anxiety. Sometimes fear is subtle. It's the hesitation to take a step of faith. It's the worry about what others will think. It's the thought that whispers, what if I fail? Fear is designed to keep you stuck, to keep you playing small, to keep you from stepping into the fullness of your calling. But fear is a liar. You were never meant to live in hesitation, in doubt, in insecurity. You were created to walk boldly, to trust that every step is guided, that you don't have to have it all figured out to move forward. When fear tries to rise up, remind yourself that perfect love casts out fear, that courage is already inside you, that what's ahead of you is greater than what's behind you. And then there's exhaustion, not just physical tiredness, but spiritual exhaustion. You're doing everything you can, but it feels like you're running on empty. You pray, but it feels like nothing is shifting. You believe, but the breakthrough hasn't come. That's a sign that the enemy is trying to wear you down, trying to drain your strength so you'll give up before the blessing arrives. But don't fall for the trap. You may feel tired, but you are not defeated. You may feel weary, but you are not alone. Strength is already on the way. Refreshing is already coming. Sometimes the greatest act of faith is simply refusing to quit, choosing to keep going even when you don't see results. Trusting that just because you don't see it yet doesn't mean it's not on the way. The battle for your mind is real, but so is your victory. You don't have to live in confusion, in isolation, in fear, in exhaustion. You have the authority to stand strong, to fight back, to declare that no weapon formed against you will prosper. The attacks may come, but they won't take you out. The doubts may rise, but they won't define you. The challenges may be great, but the power inside you is greater. Keep standing, keep believing, keep moving forward, because breakthrough is closer than you think. No matter what battles you face in your mind, no matter how strong the attacks may seem, you are not powerless. You were never meant to live in confusion, fear, or exhaustion. The struggles you face are not a sign that you are weak. They are proof that you are on the verge of something greater. The enemy wouldn't fight you so hard if there wasn't something powerful inside you, something destined to make a difference. But here's the good news. Victory is already yours. The weight you've been carrying, the doubts that have tried to hold you back, the fear that's whispered lies, they don't have the final say. You have the authority to stand strong, to push back, to declare that you will not be defeated. Clarity is your portion. Peace is your inheritance. Strength is already inside you. So don't give up. Don't let the attacks shake your faith. Keep pressing forward, knowing